Hey there fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're on the beautiful beaches of Aruba. And today we're going to talk about are some of the don'ts you should know before you come to the Caribbean, because there's a lot of do's when you're here, and it doesn't matter if you're going to Jamaica, if you're going to here in Aruba, or you're going to Barbados or someplace else. There's so many great islands, so many great people to visit, but there are some don'ts, and I want to just get started. And my first don't, which I think is really important for people to realize, is don't think that every Caribbean island is the same. Look, if you're going to Jamaica, you have a different experience than you come to Aruba, which is a different experience than going to Barbados, which is different than St. Kitts, which is if you're going to go up to Cuba, or if you're going to go to Puerto Rico and stuff like that. All these islands through here, they have distinct cultures, they have distinct people, distinct foods, all kinds of stuff. Yes, there are some things that are going to cross over, but you really need to know is there are differences here. And so you need to do your research to figure out what island's best for you. If you want more adventure stuff, I want to be jumping in waterfalls and doing things like that, maybe Jamaica's for you. If all I want to do is kick back and relax at the beach and do nothing else, Turks and Caicos could be for you. Oh, I want to do a little bit of beach, I want a little bit of adventure, maybe Aruba's for you. There's all kinds of different stuff you want to see and do. But the thing is, the islands can be different, so don't forget to do your research to figure out which island's going to be right for you. Now, my next don't actually has to deal with the cruise travelers, because I know a lot of people just cruise through the Caribbean, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But I think it's important for cruisers to know that don't think that the port of call truly represents the entire culture of the island you're going to. If you're going to here in Oranienstadt, or you're going to Ocho Rios in Jamaica, I mean, they're cool, they got stuff to do, but the thing is, they know that's where a lot of tourists come in. So you have lots of touts that are there, you have a lot of tourist restaurants, a lot of tourist shopping and things like that. And it's kind of like if you went to Orlando, yes, it would give you a taste of the United States, but does it give you a really deep down feel of it? No, you got to explore a little bit more. And so when you come here, make sure you are doing more than just walking in the town and walking back out with a few souvenirs. Hit up some of the beaches, do an excursion or something like that. And that leads to my second don't, specifically for cruise travelers coming to the Caribbean. If there's something you really want to do. Now, I know the cruise ships will have excursions you can do, but what I recommend, if there's something that's really important to you, like if you're big into archaeology, or you're really big into nature, wildlife, or something like that, don't be afraid to hire your own personal guide that's just for you to go and visit the island. Now the thing is, the benefit for that is you don't have a huge busload of people, because when they do a bus tour, they have to do a bus tour. So you can't go in depth with something here. If one person is late, you all have to wait behind. It gets kind of annoying kind of stuff. So that's why I say is, look, if you want to learn more about, you know, the cave paintings here in Aruba, get a guide when you come and have them take you to there, okay? Now I will say this though, the drawback of having a private tour, one, probably costs a bit more, but two, if you're late coming back from a private tour, the cruise ship does not wait for you. The cruise ship will wait for you if you're on the bus tour, okay? So make sure you're planning ahead for those things, because honestly, I've done it a few times both ways, and I've got a lot of bang for the buck when it is going by ourselves. Because think about it, I mean, I know it's not really the Caribbean, but if you go to Cancun and you take that cruise and you take the excursion to Machu Picchu, I can already tell you the market they're going to stop at to get you to buy stuff, and I can already tell you the town they're going to stop at on the way out. It's already kind of planned. Whereas when you have your own guide, you can say, okay, we're done here, let's go to the next spot. So that can help out. Now, you notice I'm talking pretty fast, and I really need to slow down, because my next don't for you is don't get in a rush in the Caribbean. I know it might be the British West Indies or the Dutch Caribbean and things like that, and they might have those names that sound like everything will be on time. Look, you have to think island life, island time. Everything will happen, it will just take some time. So to get your menu, to get seated at the restaurant, to get your drink or your rum runner or whatever, might take a little time, okay? So just have patience. There's no reason to get upset. I mean, where are you gonna go? You're on an island. Enjoy the sun, enjoy the beach, enjoy relaxing. I personally think they do that so we tourists that are go, 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 are forced to just sit, calm down, relax, and enjoy the view. And when you're enjoying that view, my next don't for you is don't forget to bring some sun protection. Yes, sunblock is a really important thing, okay? You gotta have that. And yes, I am a bit red, and I've been putting on sunblock and reapplying it. But you have very intense sun rays down here. The farther you go south in the Caribbean, the more intense they get. So do have a heads up. Have your beach clothes, have a hat and stuff like that. And the thing is, some people laugh. They're like, oh, well, it's because you're bald, Mark, it burns. I'm like, I tell you what, if you have a part, if you're not bald and you have a part, it'll burn there too, okay? So make sure you're doing that as well. Because I've seen a lot of purple tourists here and in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and other islands we've gone to, you want to be careful with that, all right? Now, my next don't for you is don't think that going to the Caribbean is going to be cheap. Those, you know, that lotion, the Sunblock, bring it from home because it might be 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price at the shops on the islands. Because think about it, we're in the Caribbean, they're islands. Islands by definition, things have to be brought into them, which increases the price. And then you have tons of tourists that come to these islands, which then increases the price. So you're not going to get a cheap vacation when you do come to the Caribbean, so have a heads up for it. So make sure you're planning your budget accordingly for when you do come to the Caribbean. Some islands are more affordable, and if you go and eat with the locals, you can save a lot of cash, but a lot of people like to stay in the resort areas and stuff like that where the prices are higher. So do have a heads up and use those supermarkets to your advantage. Even if you're just bringing snacks back, maybe you only eat 2 meals out a day and then you snack for dinner or you snack for lunch or you have a snack breakfast or something like that. It can put a dent in that really high price of coming to the Caribbean. Now my next note for you, we're going back to the beach, and that would be don't get overly upset with the aggressive touts when you're on the beach. You'll notice in Jamaica, you know, those guys will come up to you all the time. Hey, you want to buy something? You want to buy this? You want to buy that? You want some sunblock? You want some ganja? You want these things? Some islands you're going to have touts that are going to come and try to sell you stuff incessantly again and again and again. Look, I know people get really frustrated with it. I've seen people yelling at the touts. What you have to realize is a lot of the islands in the Caribbean don't have a social system to support people. So those people, this is how they make a living, is selling those trinkets, is selling those tours and things like that. So what I feel works best, this worked for us in Jamaica, it worked for us here, worked for us in other places, is we said this, like, hey, we've already got our souvenirs for the day. Well, first off, we started with, hey, how are you doing today? So we greeted them back, didn't ignore them, didn't say, oh, leave me alone. Just common courtesy. Hey, how you doing? Good day, man. And they asked, oh, you want something? Like, nah, man, we already got all our souvenirs, but I respect you asking for us. I really appreciate it, man. You have a good day. See you later. I can't tell you how many times we got, hey, respect, man. Thanks, man. Have a good day, too. And they kind of left us alone. And the thing is, it wasn't animosity or anything like that. Just realize that's how they make a living, and it can be frustrating, but just be prepared for it. So have your kind of line down so you can kind of go through. And if they do have something you want, why not buy it? Help out the local community, help out a local person, support their family. Now, my next don't for you has to do with the hurricanes, and that is don't forget hurricane season. July through November is hurricane season in the Caribbean, okay? Now here in Aruba, we're south of the hurricane belt, so they usually don't get anything, but other parts do get hit, and it is really horrible things happen. So make sure if you're gonna try to come in October or September or August or something like that, buy your trip insurance in case the bad weather does come. Have backup plans in case things don't go right, okay? Have those things kind of set up so you know what you should do in case a hurricane comes. Now, if you're coming outside those times, you don't really need to worry about it at all. You just got sun and you just got to worry about the sun, right? And so do have a heads up though, because July through November is hurricane season. Obviously towards the end and the beginning, a little less intense. You just really have to think about it when you are scheduling a trip to the Caribbean, okay? Now, I think you should see another beach view, so we'll move to another beach to enjoy some more tips on the Caribbean. Now, my next don't for you is don't forget to bring some US dollars. Look, most of the islands here have their own currencies, but kind of a secondary currency that is used on a lot of the islands is the US dollar. Because of all the US tourists that come here, a lot of it floods in. You will see ATMs that might give you the local currency or the US dollar. For example, here in Aruba, I can choose florins or dollars to have taken out. So do bring some with you. I also recommend that you do bring some smaller bills, bring some singles, bring some 5s and 10s, because if you're going to be, if you're on a cruise, you want to buy some little trinkets, you want to have the small bills because people might not have change, or if they do have change, they might give you change back in the local currency, so have a heads up. But in general, you're going to be okay just using the US dollar. Now, my next don't for you is don't think that your magic fanny pack is going to protect you here in the Caribbean. Look, I know when we travel, we think we put on our magic fanny pack and nothing bad will happen to us. Look, you do need to be careful when you are coming to the Caribbean. Now, I'm not saying it's unsafe everywhere. A lot of the Caribbean islands are actually very safe. Here in Aruba, Turks and Caicos, things like that. But a lot of times you do need to make sure you're using your usual traveler sense, okay? If you don't feel like you're in the right part of town, get out of that part of town. If you don't feel comfortable driving, hire a local guide or hire a local driver to show you around. That can really help. And that's why it's really important you do your research on the islands you're going to go to make sure you know what things you should look out for. Like, is there certain parts of the islands you shouldn't go to, or is it more bad at night, or things like that, just to give you the heads up. For example, if you're looking at all the stray dogs and cats you're going to see around on some of these islands, you know, they call them potcakes in Turks and Caicos, and there's actually potcake care centers you can go to and walk the dogs and stuff like that. Other places, you kind of want to stay away from them. So just have a heads up for that. Now, another thing I want to talk about is cell service, Wi-Fi, things like that. And my don't for that is, don't worry, you will have Wi-Fi, you will have electricity, you will have cell service, you will have all those things. Now, in terms of the data and the Wi-Fi and stuff like that, now it may say 4G or whatever on your phone. That doesn't mean you're going to get blazing fast internet when you're in your hotel or when you're on your phone, but you will have it, which is always nice. But I will tell you, if you're going to be going exploring on the islands, you know, maybe doing hikes or going on the more remote side of the islands, I recommend you download like a maps.me like version map of the country, so you can be tracking on that in case you don't have cell service. Because sometimes in kind of the backwater parts of the islands, you might not have cell service. So just to be safe, download an offline map so you can have that, okay? Now, my next don't for you is, don't be scared to leave your resort. Look, I know a lot of people, when they come to the Caribbean, they get worried about their safety and stuff like that. And they think, I'll just stay on my resort and I'm not going to do anything else except drink my all-inclusive alcohol and eat my all-inclusive food, which is awesome. I mean, if that's what you want to do, great. But don't be afraid to go off property. Go take a tour. Go see some more of the island. Head up and go see the California Lighthouse here, or go snorkeling and doing things like that. Get out of your resort, because then you have a better chance of seeing some of the local culture. Now, I realize a lot of people come specifically for those all-inclusive resorts because, look, I want to be at Sandals and I just want to chillax. That's totally fine. But I always like to recommend people, don't just stay at the resort. Go out and explore. Also, I find you get better food when you go out and explore as well. Now, another thing I want to talk about is when you're coming to the beach, okay? Obviously, the Caribbean, it's all about the beaches, and the beautiful water, and the beautiful sand. And I'm going to tell you, don't forget to bring your beach accoutrement with you. You know, if you're taking kids, bring that little cheap, you know, shovel and pail they have. Throw that in their backpacks, okay? You're not packing a lot. I mean, it's the beaches here, so you got t-shirts and swim trunks, so you have room in your suitcase. So bring the towel, bring extra sunblock like we talked about before, bring bug spray, you know, bring your goggles and your snorkel and things like that. Because the thing is, when you buy it at the stores here, we talked about the sticker shock of here, you're gonna pay a lot more. So just bring it with you. You have it all from last year's summer vacation. Just throw it in there. It'll make your life so much easier. And what's cool is a lot of these places will have snorkeling things you can go do. So you can take your own snorkel. Maybe you like the ones that doesn't filter back in. Or maybe you like the face mask one that just goes over your head. There's all kinds of different ones that you can get at home. And then you're not sharing something that 50 other people this week have like latched their mouth onto, okay? So do think about bringing some of that stuff with you. So one of those things I think you should pack and bring from home is also a reusable water bottle, because you don't want to get dehydrated. And if you have your own water bottle, you can refill it all the time and drink that, so you'll be okay, all right? Now, my next don't for you is, don't go in the water if the flags say not to. Because a lot of times people come like, I don't care, I'm here on vacation, I'm going in the beach, I'm going in the surf, I'm gonna go enjoy the water, and they don't look at the flags. If the flags are red, you don't wanna go in. So make sure you're watching the flags, because you know what? You don't wanna be a horror story that happens when someone comes on vacation and gets swept out to sea. Now, it doesn't happen very often, but you will notice there's not a lot of lifeguards out on the beaches in the Caribbean. So do have a heads up with those flags. Now, my next tip for you kind of relates back to that one about getting off the resort, and that is, don't be afraid to go adventuring when you're here. Whether that adventuring is heading into Kingstown and seeing Trenchtown in Jamaica, or maybe you're going out on a Jeep safari or getting one of those gators and driving around and stuff like that. The Caribbean islands are made for adventure, okay? They're made to go out and explore. Go snorkeling, go parasailing, go kite surfing, go tubing, do all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of great things. You want to swim with some rays and sharks? You can do that too. There's a lot of outdoor activities you can do when you're here. Hiking in some of the mountains. I mean, my goodness, going in Jamaica, just gorgeous inland. Here in Aruba, you can do some hikes at the national park. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do, but I really think it's one of the great things about the Caribbean is it's such a kind of adventurous, a lot of stuff you can do aside from chilling at the beach. And I guess that's actually why I think the next thing I should tell you is, don't forget to bring the kids and the grandparents, because the Caribbean makes a great multi-generational like destination. Because think about it. The people that would just want to sit at the beach and relax and do nothing can do that. The people that just want to drink rum can do that. The kids that want to go to the pool, they can do that. Those that want to go out and adventuring and doing things and jumping in waterfalls and stuff like that, they can do that. There's something for everybody when you're here, and that's what's really nice about it. And it's really, you know, a wonderful place to be for all generations, okay? But I will say, my last don't for you is, don't expect to find a lot of empty space on the beach, okay? You're not gonna get a lot of alone time. Now, I know I'm here getting some alone time filming, but it's also 7 o'clock in the morning, okay? And the thing is, you have to realize, because the Caribbean is so popular and tourists come here all the time, it's gonna be busy. You're gonna have those prices I talked about, but it's gonna be hard to find time for yourself or things like that, or alone space, okay? So just be ready to be able to share your wonderful family vacation with a lot of other families or a lot of other couples and things like that. But it is well worth it. Anyway, I wanna say have a great time here in the Caribbean. If you wanna learn more, check us out in some other videos on Aruba, maybe go to Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, all kinds of other places in the Caribbean and around the world. And I'll say bye from here in the one happy island, Aruba.